What is up, everyone? It's Quinn here, and in this video I'm going to be going through my last set of Week 15 rankings. So I've already gone through the running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends. Today I'm going to be going through the top 15 defenses for Week 15 specifically. If you guys haven't checked out the other rankings videos, take a look at those after this one if you guys are interested. If you enjoy the video, just do me a huge favor and hit that like button. And let's just dive right into it. We're going to start off with my top defense here. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Patriots. This Chiefs defense has been pretty solid all season long. I understand the Patriots had a somewhat decent offensive game in Week 14. I'm really not expecting that to carry over. You get the nice matchup here where you have a top defense and a bottom tier offense. Those are obviously typically like the best spots you want to attack in terms of fantasy football. So the Chiefs are going to be my top defense this week. Number 2 is going to be the Miami Dolphins. They're not coming off a great game against the Titans, but they still scored the defensive touchdown. They're going up against the Jets here. Another spot where I feel like some of these offenses that we viewed as like bottom tier, a lot of them ended up having decent games last week. Patriots, Jets, I think you can throw the Giants in there. We have a pretty large sample size of what we've seen of this Jets offense this season, and it really hasn't been great. This Dolphins defense has been solid, so I like them here as my number 2 defense. Then I'm going to have the 49ers going up against the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals just have a little bit more firepower offensively compared to some of the other options like the Jets and the Patriots, especially with Kyler Murray at quarterback. But this 49ers defense has been super impressive. I think they're a nice play this week. After the Niners, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. Overall, they've been a pretty solid defense this season, and they have a prime matchup here against the Panthers. The Panthers are just one of those offenses you're going to want to play the defense against, just kind of how it's been all season long. So, like the Falcons there. Then sticking in the same division, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. They're going up against the Giants. Like I mentioned, Giants actually look decent offensively, but still, over the last few weeks, they haven't been some sort of top tier unit. The Saints defense is fine, so I like them here as a top 5 play. Then I have the Raiders going up against the Chargers. This Chargers offense at this point is really just decimated. You have no Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen has been ruled out for the Thursday night game. You've got Austin Eckler, who seemingly at this point is like a shell of his former self. We just saw the Raiders hold the Vikings to only 3 points, so they're coming off a solid game. They get another nice matchup here. I think they're a nice play. Then I'm going to go with the Rams. The Commanders can go out there and put up points, but they're also very turnover prone, and they're going to give up a lot of sacks, which is obviously going to help the opposing defense. Then I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. They've been solid, especially over the past 3-4 weeks. They're going up against the Steelers. Not really afraid of this Steelers offense. We're going to get Mitch Trubisky again. Overall, just not a great unit. I think the Colts are a solid top 10 option. And then I'm actually going to go with 2 defenses that are playing each other. So we got the Cleveland Browns at number 9 and the Bears at number 10. For the Browns here, I think overall they're a better defense. Chicago has looked better over the past few weeks, but I still think there could be turnover opportunities for the Browns here, and just an impressive unit as a whole. And then for the Bears, early in the season, I definitely didn't think I'd be talking about them as a defense you actually want to target in the fantasy playoffs. But over the last 4 or 5 games, they have really turned it around. Understand the Browns actually offensively haven't looked too bad over the past couple of weeks, but this is still, I don't think, like a top tier offensive unit. So I think the Bears are a nice play. Then I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, on the entire season, this Ravens defense has been very, very impressive. They just draw a not so great matchup here against the Jaguars. I think this Jaguars offense is definitely an above average unit, led by Trevor Lawrence. So it's not like a smash play with the Ravens here, but I do think that they're a good enough defense where even in a not so great matchup, they're still definitely relevant as pretty much a top 12 defense here. After the Ravens, I'm going to be going with the Green Bay Packers. This kind of feels like a fairly neutral matchup. I'd say overall this Packers defense is pretty middle of the pack. And then the Buccaneers, not an offense you're super scared of, but it's also not like a smash matchup where, you just love to play the defense against them. So I think a fair ranking here. Then I have the Chargers going up against the Raiders. Both these teams are pretty decimated offensively. Personally, I just have a little bit more faith in both the Raiders defense and the Raiders offense in this one. Maybe you guys disagree. Maybe you think they should be closer to the Raiders. I don't know. I just feel like the Chargers at this point have really seemingly, fallen apart. The Raiders are still going to have some weapons out there. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Chargers offense at this point just looks pretty anemic. So I think the Chargers defense is still a decent play. This Raiders offense definitely isn't anything special. So they're sliding in as my 13th defense. Then I'm going to go with the Titans. And this is kind of like a placeholder ranking just based on the injuries to this Texans offense. Obviously, if CJ Stroud and Nico Collins are both playing, then you probably bump Tennessee off here because the Houston Texans offense would probably be solid if that was the case. If we're not getting CJ Stroud, then I think you could probably move them up because you're looking at a Davis Mills-led offense, maybe with Nico Collins, maybe without, but obviously no CJ Stroud would be a huge benefit for this Texans defense. And then the final team here is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Definitely haven't been world beaters in terms of fantasy production, but they've been fine. This Colts offense is fine. Very middle of the pack here as like the 15th rated defense this week. So that's going to wrap it up for my top 15 defenses. If you have any more fantasy questions, drop them down below. Even in a couple of days, I'll still make sure to get back to your comments. So thank you all for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.